We now shift our focus to Ukraine. After nearly 3 years of relentless Russian assault, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky faces a dead end. We are not the ones saying that. A pro-Russian Ukrainian, Viktor Medvedchuk, has recently made that comment. Medvedchuk says that by signing a decree in 2022 that completely banned talks with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, Zelensky has placed himself in a deadlock. While Medvedchuk has his own personal agenda in making that statement, the state of the conflict and Ukraine, as it stands right now, makes it hard to disagree with Medvedchuk in a way. Have a look at these visuals now coming up on your screen. This is Ukraine today, battered by war, hoping for a US-initiated peace deal. Today, Russia has claimed to have captured one more settlement in Ukraine's Kharkiv. Its troops seized a place called Dvorichna. The Russians, in fact, are building on their momentum in eastern Ukraine, and the capture of this settlement is yet another step in their grinding push to conquer the entire Donetsk region. In addition to capturing this part, the Russian army also hit Ukrainian forces as well as military equipment in multiple directions, including Donetsk, Kharkiv, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. In Russia's Kursk region, Ukraine reportedly lost more than 280 soldiers while trying to hold on to hard-won land. On the battlefield, as Russia maintains the upper hand, Ukraine is growing desperate, and in its desperation, Ukraine launched drones targeting oil and power facilities in western parts of Russia on Wednesday. According to reports, as a result of Ukrainian drone attack, an oil refinery caught fire in a place called Nizhny Novgorod, located east of Moscow. Meanwhile, in the western region of Smolensk, bordering Belarus, a massive drone attack was reported that even destroyed air defense systems. Dozens more Ukrainian drones targeted Bryansk region, bordering Ukraine, and the Tver region, bordering Moscow. Meanwhile, several combat engagements continue to take place at the same time across the Ukrainian front line. According to the latest information, Ukraine's army has been pushed back over the past year, outgunned and outmanned by Russia across the 1,000-kilometer front line. Suffice to say, the Ukraine nightmare is showing no signs of settling down. It has reached a dead end in a way. But that's a burden only for Ukraine. You see, on Tuesday, Putin said that peace talks with Ukraine are possible, but not with Zelensky. That's right. Putin has ruled out speaking directly with the Ukrainian president. And why is that? Because according to Russia, Zelensky is quite literally illegitimate. During an interview with a Russian journalist, Pavel Zarubin, Putin said that Zelensky could participate in possible talks with Moscow if he wishes to, but that he lacks the legitimacy to actually sign a peace deal. But that's not even all. According to Putin, negotiating with the de facto Ukrainian leadership will not have any legal meaning, because Kiev has explicitly banned itself from talks with Moscow. And he's not wrong, by the way. In 2022, Zelensky, whose presidential term officially last year, issued a decree. His decree prohibited talks with Russia and with President Vladimir Putin specifically. And all signs indicate that that decree remains in effect. Just last week, Zelensky claimed that the ban applies to all Ukrainian officials except himself. But the original decree did not specify who is allowed and who is not allowed to talk to Russia. It simply stated that such negotiations were quote-unquote impossible. Which then brings us to the question, is Zelensky going to walk back on that decree? And given the fact that his term has ended, would such a decision even be legally valid? Because you see, elections have not been held in Ukraine since Russia started the war. And because of the war, Ukraine is still under martial law, during which the Ukrainian constitution does not allow elections. Of course, Zelensky reacted to Putin's statement by accusing the Russian president of being afraid of negotiations. Zelensky said that Putin was using quote-unquote cynical tricks to prolong the nearly 3-year war. He says that there was a chance to achieve real peace and warned against Ukraine being excluded from any potential peace talks between Russia and the United States, which then brings things back to square one in a way. Are peace talks even possible without Zelensky? Trump, on his part, is pushing for a deal to end the war. He had promised to end it within 24 hours, remember, of taking office, but it has been almost 10 days since he took office. And that promise is looking difficult to hold somewhat. Trump appears to think he can simply persuade Putin into a fair settlement by, in a way, threatening to unleash economic warfare. But whether they help or not will decide Ukraine's fate and what happens. It will also say a lot about whether Trump is indeed the great deal maker he claims to be. And as for Ukraine, and especially Zelensky, there are no good options left. Zelensky has said Ukraine will accept nothing less than the return of all its territory, including Crimea, annexed by Russia in 2014. But with the Ukraine front line collapsing and with Russia occupying about 20% of the country, are those goals achievable anymore? And if negotiating with Putin is the only way forward, is Ukraine even ready to surrender territory to Russia? So then, how long can Ukraine actually withstand the war? To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.